In this week, we are exploring this abandoned Renault dealership, which was filled with all kinds of never sold vehicles and personal belongings. Discover with us what we found and what the story is of this former company. We started our exploring in this alleyway, right next to the dealership. Not a lot of time later, we were in the old storage part of the property. This was also the moment when we started to come across the first cars. Most of them were older models, dating back to the 90s. Except for one hidden back in the corner. This small red one is a Citroën 2CV, which probably dated back to the 70s or the end of the 80s. But okay, let's see what else is located on this compound. Right next to the dealership is this old home, which probably was inhabited by the former owner. The weird thing only was that pretty much everything was left behind, which we really didn't expect it. How this sad situation ever happened is a mystery to us, so we can only speculate about what happened exactly. So let's try to find traces of what happened between these walls. The first assumption we made was that this place was owned by an elderly person who has died. But this changed quickly after we found these pictures of these kids. This meant that a part of the family was probably still alive. So if this is the case, why is there still so much stuff laying around? And why didn't the children took any stuff that was still left? Before we try to unravel this mystery, let's head upstairs. On this level we found bedrooms, but also something a bit more interesting. The offices of the dealership. This was really interesting, because it was full of old papers and documents. We even found some really personal information about some of the customers. But I find what really helped was this old calendar from 2007. With this we could assume that this place was already abandoned for over 13 years now. What we also discovered was this big showroom of the dealership, which included even some cars. The strange thing was that most of the cars were relatively new if you look at the date of the abandonment of this place. This raised even more questions for us. But okay, let's continue to explore the rest of the site. What we noticed is that the back of the site another building is located, so let's check that one. The first thing we noticed was this Renault branded glass reception, which also seemed like to be really intact. But inside it became instantly clear. This was the former repair shop for the dealership and it was massive. From multiple workplaces to even a respray shop. We also headed to the glass structure looking thing. Which contained the old stockroom, which also was still stocked with expensive parts. But okay, let's try to connect the dots to each other. Most of the vehicles are left behind. Stuff ranging from the owner's life to information of the customers were all left behind. So my theory is that the government decided to take this place in custody, for whatever reason. Maybe due to safety reasons or due to a large debt that the company was in. Unfortunately, this bizarre place will probably be a mystery to us, but it's truly sad and bizarre that so much stuff was left behind.